Hi, I'm Neil Beck. I was a doctor in Perth, Australia for 53 years. And I want to tell you about the things that I learned that help people to have a good life. The most important thing I learned is that if you're mentally healthy, you'll mostly be happy, you'll mostly perform well, and you'll mostly get what you want and need. So one of the most important things in our whole life is to grow our mental health. But there's never been any perfect mums, dads, families, communities, or schools. So we all started with some suffering that caused some mental health problems. And problems cause more and more problems until they're fixed. So quickly start finding and fixing your mental health problems and growing your mental health with Mental Fix It Scroll Plus 5 to 15 minute daily sessions on your phone at smilefixit.com. Don't wait till you crash. Start growing your mental health now. The 7 most important things in life are: firstly, mental health; secondly, enough good relationships; thirdly, high endorphins chemistry. Endorphins are endogenous morphines, over 20 chemicals produced by our brain and glands that help to make us feel good, that help to stop pain and distress. The 4th most important thing is to have a strong immune system. Our immune system is cells and antibodies and chemicals in every part of our body that fight infections, allergies, inflammation, autoimmune diseases and cancers. And our immune system is mainly managed by our endorphins. So endorphins are very important. The 5th most important thing is to have a good home in a good district. Your home has such a big influence on the quality of your life and your security that we should all start to plan and save to get a good home in a good district as early as possible. The 6th most important thing is a good education, and the 7th most important thing is a good job. Sadly, the conclusion that I reached was that there was never going to be enough mental health help for all the people who needed mental health help. There were long waiting lists. Many people got no help, and no one got enough help. And the people who most often needed help, who were the poorer people, were the ones that got the least help. The problem was that mental health carers only had 2 tools, and both of those tools had major weaknesses. The first tool was medicines. Medicines have got 2 major weaknesses. Firstly, many medicines are addictive. Never take anything addictive, medicines or street drugs. The people who who benefit from taking medicines want to take medicines and get better quickly and then stop taking medicines. But the people who make medicines want as many people to take as many medicines as possible for as long as possible, and they achieve that in 2 ways. firstly, they make as many medicines as they can get away with addictive. Never take anything addictive. The second main weakness of medicines is that they work too slowly. With mental health problems and addictions, you want medicines that work quickly, but most medicines come as tablets or capsules, and tablets or capsules, when you take them, you swallow them, they have to go right down your gut, and it takes 30 to 60 minutes before they start to get into your bloodstream and start to give you any relief, and 1 to 2 hours before they work strongly. So that's just too slow for many mental health distresses and addiction cravings. Powder medicines, if you drop them on your tongue, start to work in 5 minutes. If you suck them and don't swallow them, they're absorbed through your tongue and get into the bloodstream in 5 minutes and start giving you relief in 5 minutes, and are working strongly in 10 to 15 minutes. The second tool of mental health workers is talk therapy, consultations, counselings, psychotherapy, CBT, talking to people, and that has two big weaknesses. Firstly, it's too slow. It takes too long to find out what a person's problems are, and to understand what caused them, what's making them keep going, what's making them worse, and to understand how and explain to the troubled person how to overcome those problems. Talk is slow, and it's not systematic and thorough enough, so often problems are missed, and people don't get completely better because some of their problems were never found. So talk therapy has a weakness that it's too slow and not systematic and thorough enough, and it has a problem that it's too costly. To become a therapist takes at least 4-year Bachelor of Psychology degree, and to become a psychiatrist 10 or 12 years. So people who become therapists and do talk therapy are very intelligent and have done very long courses and have to be paid well. So talk therapy is too costly, and the combination of being too slow and too costly is the reason why so many people can't get any mental health help, and virtually no one gets enough mental health help. So the conclusion I reached is that mental health care had to come through smartphones, videos, scrolling apps, and powder medicines in pocket dispensers. And there are 10 blind areas in mental health care that were stopping people from getting mentally healthier. The first is that if mental health is the most important thing, or one of the most important things in your life, it should be taught in school, and it's not taught in school. Mental health care should be a major subject throughout a child's school life, and mental health care is just not taught in schools. Secondly, mental health care problems are nearly always family problems, and the family problems need to be treated, but mental health care is nearly always treated as if the troubled person is isolated, is alone, and it's so much easier and better to help them get better if the family is getting better, but the family is usually ignored. Another blind area is that so often we don't look for causes. It's so important to find causes. If you find the causes, it's much easier to fix the problem, and when the problem's fixed, if the causes are fixed, then relapses won't happen. But so often people are treated, their mental health problems are treated, but the causes are not found, and that makes it far more difficult to help them get better, and it makes it far more likely that they'll relapse. Another problem is that what every addict needs is dual diagnosis. And dual diagnosis is diagnosing their mental health problems and treating their mental health problems at the same time as treating their addictions. And I did dual diagnosis treatment in my addiction clinic, and it worked very well, but I couldn't find anyone else who was doing dual diagnosis. In the addiction clinics, all the addiction clinics I visited in Perth and Sydney, the addiction was treated, but nothing was done about the mental health disorders. And the mental health clinics refused to see addicts. If you had an addiction, you couldn't get an appointment in a free government mental health clinic, and most addicts could not afford private mental health care. Another blind area is that mental health problems should be treated as emergencies, but they were mostly just left to go on and on and on until people crashed. But mental health problems cause more problems, which cause more problems, so things get more and more difficult and complicated and harder to fix. The easiest and best time to fix a mental health or addiction problem is as soon as they start, when they're much simpler and easier to understand and easier to help. Another blind area was that 60 to 65% of our life is habits, but habits were just neglected in mental health and addiction. Our brain has so much to do, is so busy, that it has to make things that we repeat often into habits, automatic, unconscious things that but mostly just happen, that our brain can forget about. What happens is that if you do something over and over and over again, it triggers, and the underlying electrical and chemical messages that flow from the triggers through the nerves and the bloodstream to the action parts, which are the muscles and or the organs, the triggers and the messages get stronger and stronger until they're virtually automatic and unconscious and hard to stop and just happen, and our brain can focus on the more difficult things, the less frequent things, the new things, and 60 to 65% of our life is automatic, unconscious, hard to stop habits. And it's so important that people should be able to make new habits and know how to break old habits. Because our life changes as we go from infancy to childhood to adolescence to adult life, to middle age to old age, our life changes and we need to make new habits for new situations. So we need to be taught how to make new habits, but we're not taught about habits, how to make new habits. And we need to break old habits, because some of our habits that we developed at one stage of our life become a problem at another stage of our life. So we need to be taught how to break habits, but we're not taught how to break habits. It's a blind area. Habits are a blind area. And transgenerational trauma is a blind area. If something very bad happens to someone, that can affect their children and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren. If something very bad happens to them, it affects them emotionally, it affects their thinking, it affects their habits, it affects their homemaking and their finances. So if you have a problem today, a mental health or addiction problem today, for which you can't find a cause, you may very easily be caused by something that happened to your parents or a grandparent or even a great-grandparent. In my family, there were serious problems in my generation due to the problems a great-grandmother had, who had 9 children with 3 different fathers, and died of cancer when she was 42. Transgenerational trauma is a blind area that affects quite a few people. And we seem to treat people with a greater emphasis on giving them a diagnosis than on telling them, explaining to them what they want and need. If you've got a mental health problem, it means that that you have to have things, be able to do things that you want or need that you aren't able to do. But we're more interested in telling them that they've got bipolar disorder, or they've got major depression, or they've got attention deficit, than explaining to them that what they need to do is to learn to focus better, to concentrate better, to do positive things, to learn to be positive. And people are not taught self-help. If there's never going to be enough mental health carers to help all the people who need help, then people have to be able to help themselves. And our society, our schools, and our parents and our healthcare professionals should be teaching people to help themselves. Self-help, mental self-help is so important. And another blind area is we tend to be too absorbed with blaming. Oh, there's a problem, who is to blame? But the blame game is seldom right. and it's very unhelpful. It causes lots of problems because blaming one person is almost never right. Mental health and addiction problems are nearly always just one link in a long chain that involves many people. And to just blame a mother or a father or a brother or a sister or some bad person in the community is a mistake. Don't do the blame game. Find out exactly what happened and what the chain of problems was. And another blind area is the fact that some troubled people stay troubled out of an unconscious sense of loyalty to troubled family members. They are troubled and feel unconsciously that they should stay troubled because that's how their mother is, or that's how their father is, that's how their brother or their sister is. But what we should be teaching people is to find out how to get better, how to grow their mental health, how to fix their addictions, and to share anything that helps them with family members so that everyone gets better together. That's far better and it's far easier. If you are a troubled person from a troubled family, it's much harder for you to get better if your family stays troubled than if you get better and share with your family members that you feel for what helps you, so they get better and everybody gets better together. So starting 22 years ago, I started to develop a package of 10 self-help mental health and addiction tools. 10 self-help mental health and addiction tools. The first tool is, and most of those tools are free, and are through your phone and online. The first tool is websites, and I have 2 websites. Mental Health Videos A to Z.com, Mental Health Videos A to Z.com, which you can download on your phone or laptop, and that's a 14-page long and fairly detailed website. So I also have a very short website called SmileFixit.com. SmileFixit.com is a page and a half, and on that page and a half there are links to everything that might help you. So go to SmileFixit.com and tap on the links to anything that looks helpful to you and immediately get help. The second tool is videos, under a minute videos. There's no faster, better, more convenient, lower cost way of understanding mental health problems than with under a minute videos. I made my first video 15 years ago when I was too busy to explain everything to people, as that was a slow process that needed to be repeated because people got confused and didn't understand things. And my first video 15 years ago was about 10 minutes, and it got 10,000 viewings in 9 months, which was very good. So I made another 30 uh, 8, 10 or 12-minute videos, which are at mentalhealthvideos.a-to-z.com. But gradually over the years people stopped watching long videos, and most people just watch under a minute videos on TikTok. So now I've got 83 under a minute videos on TikTok, or on mentalhealthvideos.a-to-z.com. Also on smilefixit.com there are 88 6 to 20 second videos which are even shorter, which cover every want, need, and solution in mental health and addiction. So the second tool is videos. The third tool is an app. Originally I just talked to people, but I found that was too slow and I missed too much, so I developed a checklist, and the checklist had 20 questions, and one of my assistants could do the checklist with the patients before I saw them, and then when I saw them, because I was so busy, so flooded with people needing help, when an assistant did the checklist with the patient first, in 15 minutes I could do as much for that person as what I took me 30 to 40 minutes to do without the checklist. But checklists are cumbersome, and people still had to come to my clinic to do the checklists, and eventually I realized that I had to have an app. But apps were very expensive and a lot of work, and I didn't know much about apps. But eventually I was able to create the Mental Fix-It app. The Mental Fix-It app, which you can download if you go to the App Store on your iPhone or Google Play on your Android phone and tap the icon, the Mental Fix-It icon. You can download the Mental Fix-It app, and the Mental Fix-It app in under 5 minutes enables you to tap your choice of answers to the questions, which tells you, which gives you an instant report, and in that instant report from the Mental Fix-It app you get the 4 things that you need. First of all, it tells you which 6 of our under a 6 minute which 6 of our under a minute videos will help your particular problems most. The Mental Fix-It app knows from the items you tapped as a problem which are your problems, and it knows which are the most important, which items are the most important, and which you've tapped severe, not moderate, not mild, but severe. And those most important severe items have a score of around 15, and moderately important items of moderate severity have a score of around 10 or 11 or 12, and less important problems, which you have to a milder degree, have a score of 3 or 4 or 5. So your instant report, the app knows what the 83 under a minute videos are, and it tells you which of 6 of the 83 under a minute videos will help you most with your particular highest scoring problems. The second thing that the instant app report tells you is which medicines are likely to help you most, so you can go online and study those medicines and then discuss it with your doctor and get a prescription. And the third thing that the instant report gives you is a complete list of your problems in descending order of importance. Most people and their helpers think they've only got 1 or 2 problems, but troubled people have nearly always got 4, 6, 8 or 10 problems. It's just that they're only aware of the most severe ones. But you need to know all your problems and which are the most severe, so that you can get completely better by dealing with your problems. Usually, of course, you seek treatment for the biggest and worst problems first, and when you've fixed them, you've fixed the medium problems and then the smaller problems. But so often in mental health, only the biggest problems get attention, and the smaller problems persist and spoil your life and trouble you. And sometimes the biggest problems are so big that people can't deal with them. They were sexually abused as a child, that they've got had a terrible thing happen to them in their life that they just can't cope with, so they try to escape from it with alcohol or with street drugs, or by filling their mind with some horrible thing far away on the other side of the world, like the CIA or Guantanamo Bay or conspiracy theories. But if you have got a complete list of all your problems and you can't cope with the biggest problem, start with the smaller problems. Pick a smaller problem you feel ready to work on and able to work on, and get that problem fixed. And when you fix a smaller problem, you'll be happier, you'll be stronger, and you'll be a more experienced problem solver. Then pick on another smaller problem and fix that problem, and then you'll feel happier, you'll be stronger, and you'll be a more experienced problem solver. And then gradually work through all your problems until you can eventually cope with even the biggest and worst problem. So the app instant report tells you which 6 under a minute visits will help you most, which medicines will help you most, what all your problems are in descending order of importance, and finally it gives you a graph of your total scores, which is a graph of how bad your mental health is, because you keep repeating the app, at first preferably every day, and each time it creates a list of all your problems and the score for each, and also a total score of all those problem scores added together, and your total score is a guide to how your mental health is. And what should happen is, if you're getting the right treatment for your mental health, then your total score is going down. And as soon as you look at your instant report, you see your graph. The first thing you see is your graph of your total scores, and if that graph is getting better, then you're on the right treatment. Keep going with that treatment. But if the graph is only getting better very slowly, or it's not getting better, then the treatment you're on is not right. You need to have a better treatment or more treatment, and it's so valuable in helping you to get better more quickly, to know quickly whether the treatment is working. And the thing that tells you in an instant is your total score graph. So that's tool number 3, the Mental Fix It app. Tool number 4 is live streaming, which is what I'm doing now, because I found that people love to watch live streaming. TikTok is only 9 years old, but they TikTok gets over 1 billion visitors every month. Over 1 billion visitors every month on TikTok, and most of them go there to scroll and or to look at under a minute videos, very short videos. That's what most people go to TikTok for. So that's why I had to have under a minute videos, and why I do live streaming. I want to apologize for missing the last 2 live streaming sessions. Sadly, my sister died and we had the funeral, and so I missed the last 2 live streaming sessions. But normally I do live streaming at 7 p.m. Perth time, Perth Australia time, 7 p.m. on Wednesday, Friday and Saturday evenings, and 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. I changed the Sunday session from 7 p.m. to 9 a.m. because about a third of our viewers are now in the Northern Hemisphere, and 7 p.m. Perth time is 7 a.m. New York time, 4 a.m. LA time, and God knows what London and Norway and Sweden time, which is not a user-friendly time. And I admit that I'm a bit disorganized on this, and I probably should do more user-friendly time for the Northern Hemisphere. And I'm got so busy that I may not be able to continue to do live streaming 4 times a week, because there are other things that would be more helpful that I should spend more time on. So I may end up only doing live streaming 2 or 3 times a week, but I'll always do live streaming. The 5th tool is powder medicine. Powder medicine, because I found that if you absorb your medicine through your tongue, it starts to work in 5 minutes, whereas if you swallow the medicine, it takes half an hour to an hour to start to work, and that's too slow. And it takes 1 to 2 hours to work strongly, and that's too slow. But if you drop powder medicine on your tongue and suck it and absorb it through your tongue, it not only starts to work in 5 minutes, but within a couple of weeks you get taste conditioning, and then the medicine starts to work as soon as you taste it. As soon as you drop the powder medicine on your tongue and it reaches your taste buds at the back of your tongue, it starts to work in seconds. And that's much better if you're suffering from a mental health distress or from an addiction craving. The easiest time to stop a problem is when it first starts. uh, stopping a problem getting worse when it first starts is far easier than making it go away once it's established and strong. So tongue absorbed powder medicine is far more effective than swallowed tablets or capsules. Your tongue is pink or red because the blood vessels are so close to the surface. So when you drop thousands of grains of powder medicine on your tongue, it's so close to those blood vessels just under the tongue surface that the powder medicine gets into your tongue very quickly, and that prevents mental distresses and addiction cravings getting worse. And this is further helped by the fact that I made pocket powder medicine dispensers. We put the powder medicines in these pocket dispensers, and you have the dispenser in your pocket, and wherever you are and whatever you're doing, as soon as you start to feel a mental distress or an addiction craving, you whiz it out and drop the powder on your tongue, and it starts to work in 5 minutes and soon starts to work in seconds. And stopping the problem getting worse is far easier than making the problem go away with a swallowed medicine that takes 30 to 60 minutes to start to work. So 5th tool, powder medicine. 6th tool, pocket dispensers for the powder medicines. 7th tool is a heartbeat meditation aid. Meditation is so valuable for people with mental health distresses and addictions. In meditation, you focus on something that allows you to stop focusing on all your problems so that you can relax and rest and recover and feel better and stronger. You distract yourself from thinking about your stresses and strains and cravings by focusing on something. And the best thing to learn to focus on is your breathing. And the meditation teachers will teach you to focus on your breathing. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, or on your or on a word, on repeating a word, tom, 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 tom. But those things are not very attention grabbing, and the people who are most distressed often can't learn to meditate because it's a habit, and you develop habits by doing things over and over and over again, often, until their triggers and messages become strong. But if you're very troubled, you may not be able to maintain your focus on your breathing or on repeating a word enough to be able to forget and relax and have a holiday from your troubles. But I'd been listening to people's heartbeats for 50 years through stethoscopes, and I knew that listening to a heart beating with this stethoscope is loud and clear and very interesting and very attention grabbing. So I just got a stethoscope and cut it short. So now you can pop the stethoscope in, that's the hearing part. You just listen to your heart. and listening to your heart is much easier. Focusing on your heart is much easier, and you can learn to meditate that way. And after a month or two of meditation with that heartbeat meditation aid and listening to your loud, clear heartbeats, you can gradually switch to meditating by focusing on your breathing, which is best because your breathing is connected to your emotional state, and you've got your breathing with you whenever you are. I do what I call micro meditation. Micro meditation is just focusing on breathing gently, steadily for a few minutes, particularly just before I'm going to sleep in bed at night, because if you just focus on breathing gently, steadily for a few minutes, it calms you, and then you go to sleep easier. But you can do that anytime, anywhere, in any situation. If you get a bit of a problem and get a bit agitated, just do micro meditation. But of course, please learn to do a real meditation for 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes. One of my friends who I know benefits greatly from meditation. I can just tell by her nature and how she is that she's a meditator, and she tells me she meditates for 5, 10 or 20 minutes, but sometimes for 2 or 3 hours. And meditation is such a valuable habit. The 10th tool is another powder medicine dispenser, a bigger powder dispenser, because it's a fruit powder dispenser, not a medicine dispenser. To do things, to make habits and break habits, it's best to piggyback them on something that you already do, something that is already a habit. And from the day we're born till the day we die, we put stuff in our mouth. We have to put food and drink in our mouth. It's one of the great human everythings, putting stuff in your mouth, and taste is one of the great human things. We love good taste. So what I thought was that if we could have a lovely taste, that would give us pleasure, and we need pleasure. We need the 3 P's: people, pleasure and purpose. And unfortunately so many pleasures are harmful. We need a harmless or a helpful pleasure, and fruit powder is an increasingly popular helpful pleasure, because fruit powder is a lovely taste. Fruit powder has got fibre in it, which we need for our gut biome, and it's got a little bit of fructose, which is fruit sugar, but not enough to be a problem. But cane sugar, which everybody loves and which far too many people have far too much of now, is causing a worldwide epidemic of obesity and diabetes. And obesity and diabetes are a curse. One of my favourite coffee shops, 5 of the girls who work in the coffee shop are obese, 2 of them very obese, and I know that's ruining their lives and ruining their chances of having a good marriage. Obesity, I don't know if they're diabetic or not, but quite likely some of them are, and diabetes is a miserable disease. So having fruit powder in a fruit powder dispenser in your pocket, and anytime, anywhere, you can whiz it out and have a lovely taste. Sorry, I've got that on back to front. You whiz it out and drop a lovely taste of fruit powder on your tongue and enjoy that taste. You can do that instead of having something with sugar. So you get pleasure, which we all need, but it doesn't make you obese and it doesn't make you diabetic. My favorite fruit powders are vanilla and chocolate, which I buy from Coles supermarkets. And a block of chocolate costs $5, and most packets of lollies cost $3 or $4 or $5. But fruit powder taste costs a few cents, so you can have as many as you like. And you can use lovely taste to make and break habits. If every time you think about doing a new habit that you're trying to make, an activity that you're trying to make into a habit by doing it frequently, if every time you think about it or do it, you have a lovely taste, it'll become easier and easier for you to do it. The taste encourages you to do it. You do it more often, and the more often you do it, the sooner it becomes a regular habit. Or if there's something you've been doing for years and years which has become a problem and you want to break the habit, you can break the habit by having lovely taste. When you think of doing the habit you're trying to stop, have a lovely taste and focus on the taste and try not to think about the habit, try not to do the habit. And as the lovely taste fades, have another taste and then another taste, and delay doing the habit you want to break for 15 minutes. And when you delay doing a habit, that weakens the underlying trigger and messages a little bit. And if you also do a little bit less of the habit, that weakens the underlying trigger and messages of that habit. So if the habit you're trying to make break is smoking cigarettes or eating chocolate or eating biscuits or cake or drinking sugary drinks, what you do is you get a pocket fruit powder dispenser and you have it in your pocket and you have lovely tastes, and you delay smoking for 15 minutes and you only smoke 3/4 of the cigarette and chuck the last quarter away, or you delay having the chocolate or the lollies or the cake or the biscuits and you have a bit less, and that weakens the triggers and the messages, and then it's a little bit easier to delay a little bit longer and to do a little bit less. And so you delay a little bit more and more and more and do a little bit less and less and less until you're down to doing things much less often and doing much less of them, and then it's easy to quit if that's what you want to do, or if it's something important like a painkiller, because you've got bad pain, but you've taken more and more of the painkiller because it's gradually lost its effect, because it's addictive, because addictive things gradually lose their effect, and then it's not helping you. You can make the painkiller help you again by using powder dispenser tastes to do less and less of it, and then the painkiller regains its effectiveness. And the ninth tool will be Phone Treasure. And Phone Treasure is like pocket fruit powder medicine, a pocket fruit powder dispenser. You've always got your phone in your pocket, and you have things you love on your phone, things you love looking at, photos of your children or grandchildren, or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, or your flowers or your garden or your cat or your dog, or beautiful mountains or rivers you visited, or beautiful buildings or places or paintings that you viewed. You have these or lovely sounds, lovely music, or people saying things you love listening to. You have treasure on your phone, and anytime you need a little lift, or you need to reinforce a new habit you're making, or you need to reinforce not doing a habit you're breaking, you whiz out your phone and have a bit of phone treasure. But we haven't made the phone treasure yet, but you can start to do it yourself. And the fruit powder dispensers are not yet available. I've got about 100 which I'm learning to use, and with some friends and patients learning to use to iron out the bugs, and soon they'll be available, and the fruit powder dispensers will be so cheap you'll be able to have 3 or 4, so you can have different powders in different ones, and on different days or different times of the day you can have the powder that you like. Then we're getting 5,000 made in Ningbo in China, and they'll be available in a month or 2. But what happened was I got so taken up by tool number 10 that I didn't haven't finished tool number 8, the fruit powder dispenser, and number 9, the phone treasure, and tool number 10, which I think will be the most helpful of all, is scrollplus.com. Scroll Plus, Mental Fix It Scroll Plus, which you can now find online at smilefixit.com. I've been working on it intensively for 3 or 4 months, and just in the last few days we've been able to put it up online, so you can go to the App Store on your iPhone or Google Play on your Android and download Scroll Plus. And Scroll Plus is 88 items, mental health and addiction items, things that you want or need, or solutions. And why Scroll? Scroll because there are about 88. Probably there's 100, but we'll get to 100 eventually. But so far, 88 wants, needs and solutions that might be very important for you, but that not all 88 will be important for you. For each person, there's maybe 6 or 8 or 10, but they have to find them, and the best way to find them is scrolling. So now we've got all those items in a scrollable form, and you can race through them all in about 8 minutes and find the ones that are important for you. When I was a medical student, my medicine textbook, the biggest one, had 1,200 pages, and that 1,200 pages had every sickness known to man and all the details about it, the causes, the nature of it, the treatment. But a sick person would only really need to know about 8 pages out of the 1,200, or 10 pages or 12 pages. And it was so hard to find what they needed in such a big mass of information. So we've made mental health and addiction information, wants, needs and solutions, into 88 scrollable items which you can race through. But with scrolling, the reason you can go through so much in such a short time is there's no detail, but you need detail about those items that are important to you. So in Scroll Plus, the plus is a 6 to 20 second video on each item. So every time you come to an item that's important to you, you can just tap on it and immediately see a 6 to 20 second video that gives you immediate information, detail about that item, that want, that need, or that solution. So you can find in say 10, 20, 15 or 20 minutes, you can find all the items that are important to you, and you can watch 6 to 20 second videos on each important item for you. And if the 6 to 20 second video helps you, then it's got a link to a 1 minute video on that item which will help you more. Or if you want, you can then do the Mental Fix It app and do sorry. Yeah, so you can, with Scroll Plus, in 10, 15 or 20 minutes, you can find all the items that are important to you and see a 6 to 20 second video on each of those items that give you immediate information, very basic, very important information about that item. And if that 6 to 20 second video helps you, then it's got a link to a 1 minute video which will give you more detail about the item that's important to you. And if you find the 1 minute videos helpful, then you can do the Mental Fix It app and get the 6 under a minute videos that will help you most with all of your most important items. But your attention span may only be 3 minutes, or you may only have 3 minutes. And if you've only got 3 minutes, you just start to scroll and you can stop after 3 minutes and tap the enough button, and when you tap the enough button it immediately gives you the most important items for you so far, and that might only be 3 items, but then you can immediately watch the 6 to 20 second video, or if you've got 7 minutes you can scroll a bit further, and in 2 or 3 or 4 sessions you'll get through the whole lot. You'll scroll everything and you'll get information, very short videos on all the most important things for you. So Scroll Plus, still got to be perfected. We keep on making it better and better and better, but I hope that you'll go to smilefixit.com and do Scroll Plus often, and soon know what all the important items in mental health and addiction are for you, and soon see all the under a minute videos that will help you most. Well, I need to stop now, so please send me your comments, questions or criticisms through the platform that you watch this live streaming on, or email me. I always respond to emails. I just don't have time to talk to everyone because there's usually more than 1,000 viewers, but I always respond to emails. The email is healthestuff@gmail.com, spelt how it sounds, healthestuff@gmail.com, and you can find that email address at smilefixit.com. Thank you, Colin.